This is too dangerous for most people to hear. Dangerous, not because it contains poison, but because it contains truth. A truth so sharp that it can cut away the excuses you've lived by. A truth so piercing that it will shatter the walls you've built around your comfort. Most people do not want truth. They want reassurance. They want to be told that their situation is beyond their control, that their failures are justified, that their mediocrity is acceptable. But I cannot tell you that, and you did not come here for that. You came here for something deeper, something heavier, something that demands your courage. The dangerous truth is this: your life, in its present form, is not the result of accidents, luck, or misfortune. It is the result of your thoughts. Every outcome you see, every circumstance you live in, every achievement or failure you hold in your hands is a direct reflection of what you have permitted to dominate your mind. And until you accept this, you will remain a prisoner in the invisible chains of your own thinking. People do not want to hear that they are responsible for their suffering. It is easier to blame others. It is easier to point to the economy, the government, your upbringing, your boss, your family, your circumstances. But the mind that blames is the mind that surrenders power. And the most dangerous thing I can tell you, the one thing most people run from, is that you cannot escape yourself. You take yourself wherever you go. If you are weak inside, no external condition will ever make you strong. If you are poor in thought, no sudden stroke of wealth will make you rich. If you are timid in spirit, no position of authority will make you courageous. Life will expose you for who you truly are. There exists in every human being a power so vast, so immeasurable, that the world has only witnessed fragments of it. Yet most men and women live and die never touching even the edges of this power. Why? Because it is dangerous. It requires responsibility. It requires sacrifice. It requires the tearing down of every false belief that you have accepted as truth. The power within you does not yield itself to the casual dreamer, or the wishful thinker, or the one who complains at the first sign of difficulty. It reveals itself only to the one who dares to master thought, who commands his own mind as a captain commands a ship. You may say, "But I have been beaten down, I have suffered losses, I have faced rejection." And I will answer, yes, but what did you do with them? Did you allow them to chain you, or did you take them and shape them into fuel? The great divide between those who rise and those who fall is not chance. It is the way they interpret their trials. The weak say, "This is the end of me." The strong say, "This is the making of me." And this choice is available to you in every moment, if you dare to seize it. The dangerous truth is that everything you secretly believe about yourself will come to life. If you believe you are unworthy, life will reflect it back. If you believe you are incapable, your actions will prove you right. If you believe you are destined for greatness, and you hold that belief with the fire of persistence, life will bend itself to reveal opportunities where others see none. Thought crystallizes into reality. This is not poetry, it is law. The universe responds not to what you want, but to what you are convinced of, and conviction is carved into your mind by repetition, by focus, by a refusal to let go of the image of who you must become. Most people fail because they will not guard their minds. They allow fear to set up camp, doubt to pitch its tent, worry to build its fortress, and once fear takes root, it strangles the vision of what could be. Fear is a thief. It steals tomorrow before tomorrow can arrive. It paralyzes action. It silences courage, and yet fear is nothing but imagination twisted against you. You give it life by feeding it attention. The moment you deny it, the moment you stare it down and move forward in spite of it, it crumbles. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the mastery of fear. The secret, the dangerous secret, is that the mind is both a workshop and a battlefield. Whatever you feed into it will be shaped and returned to you as circumstances. If you plant thoughts of abundance, confidence, determination, and vision, you will live in the harvest of success. If you plant thoughts of weakness, jealousy, envy, or resentment, you will live in the harvest of failure. The soil of your mind does not care what you plant. It will return whatever seed you sow. Most people do not want to hear this, because it means they can no longer hide behind excuses. Think of the greatest men and women who ever lived, the inventors, the leaders, the pioneers, the creators. Were they born with some mysterious gift denied to the rest of us? No. They were born with the same raw material, a mind. But they chose to discipline it, to aim it, to master it. They endured ridicule, failure, setbacks, yet they refused to let their vision die, and through persistence their thoughts became reality. The same power resides in you now, waiting, urging, demanding to be called forth. But it will not answer the voice of half-hearted wishing. It responds only to the burning desire that consumes every part of your being. Desire is the starting point, not shallow wishing, but desire so strong it refuses to let you sleep in peace. Desire that makes you rise early, work tirelessly, endure rejection, and keep moving forward. This desire, when held with faith, transforms into the magnet that draws resources, people, and opportunities into your orbit. But most people never awaken this desire because desire is dangerous. Desire demands change, and change is uncomfortable. Understand this. The world does not reward comfort. It rewards courage. Every step into greatness requires stepping out of safety. You cannot cling to the familiar and grasp the extraordinary at the same time. You must choose, and the choice is frightening, because it strips away your excuses and lays bare the truth. You are capable of more than you have allowed yourself to believe. The dangerous truth is that you already possess everything you need to transform your life. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. You hold in your mind the capacity to create visions that will outlive you. You hold in your will the power to endure trials that would break the average person. You hold in your spirit the fire to command respect, to inspire others, to build legacies, but the door will never open until you decide. Decision is the fulcrum of power. Most people live in hesitation, in half-decisions, in endless waiting for the right time, but there is no right time, there is only now. The moment you decide, truly decide, that you will no longer accept mediocrity, no longer bow to fear, no longer let circumstances dictate your destiny, in that moment the universe shifts, paths appear. Strength awakens, ideas surface, people are drawn to you, but until you decide, nothing changes. Dangerous knowledge is knowledge that strips away your illusions. You now know that your thoughts govern your destiny. You now know that fear is nothing but a shadow. You now know that desire is the spark that ignites greatness. You now know that decision is the bridge from vision to reality, and because you know, you are responsible. You cannot unhear it. You cannot pretend you did not understand. You must either rise and claim your power, or admit to yourself that you have chosen weakness. The masses will reject this. They will cling to excuses. They will mock, criticize, and laugh at those who dare to rise above. Do not join them. The crowd will always resist the one who breaks free, because the sight of courage reminds them of their own chains. But your duty is not to please the crowd. Your duty is to fulfill the measure of your own potential. This is too dangerous for most people to hear, but not for you. You would not be listening if you were not ready. Somewhere inside you burns the knowledge that you were made for more, that you cannot die with your music still locked inside, that you cannot bury your dreams under fear and call it a life. You know. And because you know, you must act. Act boldly, act persistently, act with faith. Guard your mind with the same intensity that a soldier guards his post. Feed it with vision, affirm it with faith, strengthen it with discipline. Let no negative thought linger, let no fear dictate, let no excuse survive. Declare with your actions that you are the master of your destiny, the captain of your soul, the commander of your fate. And when obstacles rise, as they surely will, face them with the knowledge that they are not roadblocks but stepping stones. Every difficulty contains within it the seed of advantage. Every setback is the birthplace of a greater comeback. Every failure is a lesson wrapped in disguise, preparing you for the success that demands your growth. Do not seek the easy path. Seek the worthy path. Do not pray for less difficulty. Pray for greater strength. Do not wait for opportunity. Create it. Do not hope that success will come knocking. Build a door and pull it through. The dangerous truth is that your future is already yours, if you will claim it. You have within you right now the power to reshape your entire existence. A mind that dares to dream, a will that refuses to surrender, a spirit that burns with desire. This is the trinity of greatness: thought, will, and desire. Combined, they are unstoppable. Without them, life will drag you as it pleases. With them, you can bend reality itself. So I ask you, will you retreat into the safety of excuses, or will you rise into the danger of truth? Will you allow fear to dictate your tomorrow, or will you master fear today? Will you look back at the end of your life with regret for what you could have done, or will you leave behind a legacy carved from persistence, vision, and faith? The choice is yours, and in this moment, as you decide, your destiny shifts. This truth is dangerous because it places the entire responsibility in your hands, but it is also liberating, because once you grasp it, you will never again be a victim. You will never again bow to circumstances. You will never again accept mediocrity. You will rise, you will persist, you will conquer, and the world will remember that you were here because you dared to hear what most people could not bear to face, and you acted upon it. There is a reason so many live their entire lives as shadows of what they could have been. They bury their gifts in the soil of doubt, never watering them with faith, never nourishing them with effort. They wait for permission that never comes, for validation that no one can give them, for certainty in a world that thrives on uncertainty. They never realize that the world bends only for those who stand firm, who decide that waiting is over and action begins now. To hear this and to act on it is dangerous because it removes all excuses. Once you understand that no one is coming to save you, that no one owes you success, that no one can dream for you or labor in your place, you are left naked with the truth. It is entirely up to you. Most people prefer the comfort of illusion. They convince themselves that someone else is holding them back. They whisper, if only I had more support, if only I had more money, if only I lived somewhere else, if only the timing were right. But every if only is a chain. Every if only is a trap. Every if only keeps them from seeing that all the resources they need already exist in seed form within them. What they lack is not money, not opportunity, not connections. It is faith, decision, and persistence. With these three, the world unfolds. Without them, the richest soil bears no fruit. There is a kind of fire that ignites only when you grow tired of your own excuses. That fire is dangerous because once lit, it cannot be contained. It will burn through the chains of habit, through the walls of fear, through the voices of doubt. It will consume your old life and clear the ground for the new one. That fire is born when you say enough. I will no longer bow to the circumstances of yesterday. I will no longer let fear dictate my future. I will no longer hide from my own potential. That fire makes a person unstoppable, for the world cannot chain a man or woman who has decided to be free. The truth most cannot bear is that greatness has a price, and the price is paid in discipline, persistence, and relentless belief. You cannot taste the sweet fruit of success without sowing the bitter seeds of sacrifice. You cannot demand a life of abundance while clinging to habits of mediocrity. You cannot hope to inspire the world if you are still enslaved by fear of the world's opinion. The price must be paid, but here is the secret. The price, though heavy, is lighter than the weight of regret. Regret is the heaviest burden a human can carry. It bends the spine, it dulls the eyes, it crushes the spirit. Better to pay the price of effort than to live with the torment of regret. This is why these words are dangerous. They force you to choose. They corner you where excuses cannot hide. They place a mirror before you and show you not what you pretend to be, but what you truly are. And they whisper to you that you are capable of more than you have ever dared to admit. If you accept this truth, your life will never be the same. If you reject it, you will go on as before, but with the uneasy knowledge that you have turned away from the call of your own greatness. So now, as you hear these words, feel the stirring within you. That is the voice you have ignored too long. That is the voice that told you to try again when you quit. That is the voice that urged you to rise after you fell. That is the voice that dreams bigger than your fear, stronger than your doubt, louder than your excuses. Do not silence it this time. Listen and act. For the moment you obey that voice, you step into a life most people will never dare to live. Most people hear powerful words and feel a spark, but then they walk away and let the spark die. They treat truth as entertainment instead of instruction. They nod their heads. They agree with passion. But when the time comes to act, they return to the chains of their old life. The truth without action is poison. It makes you restless. It reminds you of what you could be but are not. It gnaws at your spirit and whispers of the life you have not claimed. And yet, most will choose the poison because it is easier than swallowing the medicine of discipline. But those who take action, those who obey the call of truth, they discover a power that grows with each step. You do not need a perfect plan before you begin. You do not need every detail mapped out, every obstacle foreseen. You need only to take the first step with faith. Action is the seed. Momentum will grow the rest. Too many wait for clarity before they move, not realizing that clarity comes only after motion. Life reveals itself to those who walk, not to those who stand still. And once you move, once you decide that hesitation is no longer your master, doors will open that you never imagined could exist. The world respects those who act. Opportunities come to the ones who move, not to the ones who sit in fear. Fortune favors the bold because boldness declares to life, I am ready. Life does not give its treasures to the timid. It gives them to the one who dares to reach, to risk, to try again when failure has beaten them to the ground. And every failure you endure, every rejection you face, every setback you survive becomes proof to yourself that you cannot be broken. That is how strength is born, not in the absence of difficulty, but in persistence through it. The most dangerous belief is the belief that you cannot change, for when you accept that lie, you become a prisoner in a cell with an unlocked door. You could walk out at any time, but you choose to stay because you have convinced yourself freedom is impossible. That lie has destroyed more dreams than any enemy, but once you shatter it, once you realize that growth is not only possible but demanded of you, then your life begins. You can reinvent yourself, reshape your future, rebuild your identity. There is no chain strong enough to bind the person who has decided to transform. Do not wait for someone to choose you. Choose yourself. Do not wait for the world to recognize your worth. Live in such a way that the world cannot ignore you. Do not beg for opportunities. Create them through persistence, vision, and work. Every day that you hesitate is a day wasted. Every day that you take action is a day invested in the future that is calling you. Time does not stop for your excuses. It moves steadily, ruthlessly, and it will carry you to the grave whether you acted or not. Better to meet that end knowing you poured yourself into the fullness of your potential than to arrive there full of unused gifts and silenced dreams. The danger of this message is that it strips you of comfort. You can no longer say you did not know. You can no longer pretend ignorance. The choice now rests in your hands, and only the brave will carry it forward. This truth has no mercy for the lazy, but it rewards the persistent with treasures the timid will never taste. And though most will turn away, you do not have to. You can choose today, in this moment, to rise, to act, to persist, to create, to live not as a shadow, but as the person you were always meant to be. The most deceptive prison is the one built inside the mind. It is not made of iron bars or heavy locks. It is made of beliefs, beliefs that tell you what is possible, what you deserve, what you are capable of. These beliefs are planted early by the voices of parents, teachers, society, and repeated so often that they seem like unshakable truth. Yet they are only opinions turned into habits of thought. And the tragedy is that people live and die in cages they could have broken simply by daring to question those beliefs. What you accept as truth becomes your reality. If you accept limitation, you live in chains. If you accept abundance, you walk in freedom. The difference between bondage and liberty is not found in the world outside, but in the convictions you allow to rule within. Every person carries within them the power to rewrite the script of their life, but rewriting requires courage. It demands that you face the possibility of failure. It requires you to look foolish, to stand alone, to walk roads untraveled by your peers. And because most people fear ridicule more than failure, they surrender their power for the comfort of conformity. They would rather blend in with the many than rise with the few, but history remembers the few. Progress is made by the few. The torch of greatness is carried by the few who are willing to endure loneliness, misunderstanding, and hardship for the sake of living true to their vision. Consider the law of persistence. Nothing can withstand the power of a mind that refuses to quit. Obstacles crumble before persistence. Critics fall silent before persistence. Even nature itself bows to persistence, as water carves valleys and winds shape mountains. Persistence is more powerful than talent, more essential than intelligence, more valuable than opportunity. Because persistence guarantees that no defeat is final, no failure is permanent, and no obstacle is immovable. The person who persists is the person who cannot be denied, and yet persistence is rare, because persistence requires a long obedience to a single vision. It requires discipline when motivation dies, faith when evidence is invisible, effort when the body is tired. But persistence, though costly, yields a harvest that fleeting effort can never achieve. The dangerous truth is that life will always give you what you settle for. If you settle for mediocrity, mediocrity will embrace you. If you settle for poverty of thought, poverty of circumstances will follow. If you settle for fear, fear will rule you. But if you settle for nothing less than mastery, nothing less than abundance, nothing less than the fulfillment of your vision, then life, though it resists at first, will eventually yield. The world has no choice but to bow to the will of the determined. It may fight, it may delay, it may test you with storms and losses, but in the end it will open to you if you refuse to accept defeat. Every day you wake up, you are faced with two paths. One leads to safety, the other to growth. One demands nothing, the other demands everything. One is crowded with the masses, the other walked by the few. Safety feels comfortable now, but ends in regret. Growth feels dangerous now, but ends in freedom. This is the eternal choice, and no one can make it for you. The power is in your hands, but it is heavy, and most will drop it because they fear its weight. You must not. You must be the one who chooses growth, who chooses danger, who chooses to live instead of merely survive. The mind has two masters, and only one can rule at a time. One master is fear, whispering that you are not enough, that you will fail, that you will be judged, that your dreams are too risky. The other master is faith, urging you to rise, to try, to persist, to trust that unseen forces will align in your favor once you commit. Every thought you entertain strengthens one master and weakens the other. If you constantly rehearse fear, you give it authority over your life, and it will choke every possibility before it can bloom. But if you cultivate faith with deliberate effort, faith will grow strong and fearless, and it will carry you forward even when the path is dark. The mastery of life is the mastery of which master you choose daily. Do not misunderstand. Faith is not blind hope. Faith is action backed by vision. Faith is seeing in the mind what does not yet exist in the world, and acting as though it is already on its way. Faith is daring to take the step before the ground appears. This is why most people avoid faith. It demands courage without guarantees. Yet, the paradox of life is that guarantees come only after faith is exercised. Nothing is promised until you commit yourself fully. The world opens to those who leap, not to those who wait. Your environment will test you. Friends may laugh, family may doubt, strangers may criticize. But understand this, opposition is proof that you are moving. Resistance appears only when you are advancing. The closer you get to your vision, the louder the voices of doubt will become, not because you are wrong, but because others feel threatened by the mirror of your courage. Your determination exposes their hesitation. Your progress magnifies their excuses. Do not let their fear become yours. You must protect your vision like a flame in the wind, shielding it until it grows strong enough to light the path on its own. There is a law written into the fabric of existence that most never learn. Whatever you give energy to expands. If you feed your failures with endless reflection and regret, they will grow heavier until you are buried. If you feed your dreams with persistence, imagination, and focus, they will expand until they dominate your life. Energy does not vanish, it multiplies in the direction you direct it. So ask yourself daily, what am I feeding? Am I nourishing doubt or faith? Am I watering weeds or seeds? The harvest will always reveal the answer. The person you are today is not final. It is only the product of yesterday's thoughts and choices. And the person you will be tomorrow depends entirely on the thoughts and choices you decide upon now. This is dangerous because it means there is no one else to blame. You cannot accuse fate, nor curse luck, nor resent others. Your tomorrow is in your hands. You are sculptor and clay at once. If you desire strength, you must think strong thoughts and act with courage. If you desire wealth, you must cultivate the thoughts of abundance and take action aligned with value. If you desire freedom, you must think as one who is free and reject the chains of fear. Transformation is not only possible, it is inevitable when the mind is directed with relentless persistence. The truth I have shared with you is not for the faint of heart. It is not gentle, it is not easy, and it is not comfortable. It is sharp, it is demanding, it is dangerous, because it strips you of every excuse and places the full weight of responsibility into your hands. You now know that your life is the sum of your thoughts, that your future is written by your decisions, and that your destiny is determined not by chance but by choice. You can no longer pretend ignorance. You must either act with courage or accept the quiet misery of a wasted life. The world is waiting, not for another excuse, but for your decision, waiting for you to rise, waiting for you to persist, waiting for you to unleash the greatness buried within you. Fear will tempt you, doubt will test you, and obstacles will confront you. But if you refuse to bow, if you persist with faith, if you hold your vision as a fire that cannot be extinguished, you will triumph. So step forward with boldness, guard your mind, command your will, ignite your desire, refuse mediocrity, refuse fear, refuse defeat. Live with the dangerous knowledge that you are the master of your destiny. And when your days are finished, let the world remember that you were here, not as one who drifted, but as one who chose, one who conquered, one who dared to live in the power of truth.